Hey, we back at it.
We are. Yeah, we can just roll, bro. Because I mean,
That's
I'll add the music in late.
sure. I mean, even if we don't add the music, let's give some context real quick.
Yeah.
Ultimate Pill is still living with spirit, man. We had some technical difficulties. Had the equipment that we were using commandeered by the government.
Yep. Yep. They came in, confiscated it because of what we were saying.
Cut.
That's
Add,
good.
add your version of the story however you like. Equipment commandeered, but we still decided that we got to keep this going, man. Keep the spirit going, and two dudes hanging out.
Yep. We gotta adapt, man.
Yeah,
We just adapted, and we found a way to bring you guys content. It's a new school year. I've had a lot of people asking about our show, and
really
there seems to be a little bit of interest. So
even if it's one, that's my thing, man.
yeah, for sure. But it's good, and it's been a minute since you and I got to talk, bro. We've been busy. You've been busy, so
yeah,
you're doing your thing, which I'm proud of.
Thanks,
Proud of
man.
you for getting You got clients now. You're doing
Wow.
it. You're doing it. You're literally doing it. So I'm trying to get like you, man. I'm still in the planning phase. I'm a few years behind you, but
I love like the helping aspect of it, but I do need to get better at accepting praise when it comes from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still feel
yeah,
when that comes.
Yeah.
That was actually you right there. I felt it.
Yeah.
Like thanks. So grateful for you. That's why this is always like this is like my defense.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Like I could like honestly like reflecting back on like even my body language in those moments, like when I'm getting praised, I typically like drop my head and like thank you, go like that. So anyhow, I think I should. I think it's healthy though to accept that with humility and gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's some humility in that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an ancient practice was to bow the head to people we
Okay,
respected.
yeah. Okay.
That was
that checks
thing.
out.
It's like respect, like that.
So
especially
yeah,
in Eastern cultures.
it's like a universal language almost. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, but no, man. Yeah, it's tough to take compliments. I know what that feels like, and I've been there. I just go straight to gratitude. Just thank you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. In the
But
service, you know what? You know how they always say thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
I used to feel it then,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I actually need to find a way to respond to this. It's easy. It's same thing every time. So whenever someone would say, "Man, thank you for your service," something along those lines, I would just say, "Hey, thank you for your support."
That's good. Yep.
It's like acknowledge it back. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. I like that.
That was like a good little defense.
That's good
to that.
I like that. But yeah, man, you're doing it.
Thanks, man.
I'm all over the place, dude. I'm still gonna do the Agon.
Good.
Get that to
I'm still in on that too.
I know.
Trust me.
We'll get it rolling.
I
still think about it every day. But lately, I've been in a big writing phase. But it's funny. Our show is like self therapy, and I can think back to like this time last year, or maybe even a little bit after, like once we got to like December. But it's like I can look back and like, oh yeah, I've talked about this on the show before. But I go through these phases where it's like consume, and then create. And now I'm slowly, I can feel it. I'm like petering into just creating because I'm reading less, and I'm wanting to write more. And I really want to write a children's book. I keep thinking about my kid on the way, and then my plan for other future kids, and then I'm going back to Lord of the Rings and how it's influenced me, and like The Hobbit. Tolkien wrote that for his kids. It wasn't even supposed to be a part of the series. He just wrote a story for his kids. And some family friends started getting a hold of it, and they're like, "You need to publish this," and it blew up. He wasn't popular before that.
Did he ever talk about why he was writing it for his kids?
I think he just wanted to give them a good. I think he was always writing.
Okay.
And they knew Dad was a writer, but he wasn't published at that point.
Understood.
So he was like, "Let me give them something."
Understood.
But he had to go back and find a way to fit it into his overall. He had like 2,000 years of history at that point, mythology. So he had to find a way, and then he didn't think it was going to blow up, and that's what got published and blew up because he had been trying to get published and failed. He was just a professor.
Yeah.
And that blows up, and then the publishing company's like, "We want a sequel." So he's like, "Okay, I guess I'll come up with a sequel for this," and that's when Lord of the Rings was born. So Lord of the Rings, what he's actually known for, was a consequence for writing a children's book for his children.
Wow.
And that intent right there, that really inspired me.
That's a good story.
Yeah, man. That intention right there really inspired me. And I think too, I don't know, like everything that's been on my heart, like I think there's a spirit inside of me creatively. Like I broke back open a Rick Rubin's book that was so
seen it sitting out there.
Yeah, so influential for us. And he talked about how like there's there's a spirit inside of you that what does it want? What's it saying? You know, and I've been really trying to hearken to that, like that creative side.
Mm-hmm.
And it is something along the lines of Saga. I haven't abandoned the Saga of the Sages. It's still something along those lines, but I'm like going back further than that. It's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've done a lot of like self therapy and journaling, and really figured out like this call to mystery that I have in me and stuff. So anyway,
that's that story of Tolkien is honestly like super inspiring for
Yeah.
me, like personally. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of like success stories you hear of these, and the overnight success that took 10 years to become the overnight success,
Mhm.
but hits it.
Mhm.
I would be really curious to see like the percentage of the artists that did that at a time in their life where big change was happening.
Yeah.
Whether that was a child coming into the world or a marriage or just this like seeking to understand themselves that they
Mhm.
use to like create something for other people. Like that seems like it's common.
Yeah. That's cool.
You know, but
Well-
I'd be curious, just remiss to see what those numbers are.
Yeah. No, I bet there's a lot. I mean, I can think of a couple already. I mean,
You know what I'm
too
saying?
though. You're kind of entering the phase because both your kids are getting older.
No, dude, I
And-
would. That's literally. I was ironically thinking that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I like how when we talk about like both, like how we try to be creative. Like you have the mind that like goes into the fiction, nonfiction, and then pulls it back and like
Mhm.
brings lessons from history, which is cool. Like, but for me, like thinking about what I'm creating right now, and it certainly comes from my kid, is creating the culture at the school that I'm at this
Mhm.
year. I have put a ton of intention into that
That's awesome, man.
because my
your kid's
kid is out there,
Yep. It's good. There's
heavy
something- yeah.
into it, bro.
There's something about that.
Every sixth grade lunch been up there.
Yeah.
Because I said I gotta lock that in. That
Yeah.
was out of control last year. I don't
Was
want
it?
my kid to experience that.
Yeah.
Like every dude we've been in school for like 4 weeks. I don't think I've missed one.
That's good.
At least some form of presence up there.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Like
That's
kids-
creation to me though. That's creative. I didn't elaborate on that.
Yeah.
That is creative to me. Like I love creating like evolution, like human evolution. Like what can we do right now that'll guide this in a direction that'll get us to a better endpoint.
Yeah. And you're creating a culture, which is a real thing. It's a palpable thing.
Yeah, but it starts with the individual though. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So you got to, when you're creating culture, like you've got to think about like how individuals are different and how you can apply like general ideas that typically like everyone understands.
Yeah. I like that. No, but I was gonna say
it's hard, man. It's hard, man.
that is a creative act though. Like Rick Rubin would completely agree with you. Like and I like that what he says in that book. Like everybody's creative, and the act of making a child is like I think one of the greatest acts of creation.
Mhm.
I can already feel it changing me. She's not even here yet.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's changed you, obviously. You know, you're doing great things, and that's what's crazy about. You know, I was wondering, like, I think it's almost impossible to replicate that feeling of what a child does to both man and female.
Yeah.
Because imagine if every single teacher in both of our schools had that same mindset. My kid is one of these kids, and how do I want? You know, like
I get it. You know, I think the healthy way to say that to someone that doesn't make it like comparative to their child is you say, you tell them, hey man, if this was my child, what would I want their teacher to respond like?
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
It takes it makes it less personal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, bringing in some real meaningful.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I did in the class, bro.
Yeah.
Like, how would I want my kid to be treated right now?
Yeah.
If they were stuck in this room with me.
Yeah.
With another person.
Yeah.
And I know what it looks like when it goes bad.
Yeah.
Because of what Chloe went through last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When it goes bad, that's traumatizing to those kids, man.
Yeah. No doubt.
That's what I wish. A lot do. You know,
Yeah.
We're good here, yeah. So let's not blanket anything here, but that's just tough for me, man. When I get it. Like, yes, they're kids. They're disrespectful. They do all these things, but man, they're kids, man.
Yeah.
And that's someone's kid.
Yep.
And the kid's the way the kid is because of how they got brought up.
No doubt.
Or
Yeah.
what they've experienced up to that point.
Yeah.
we're not going to talk science here, but we can all, both you and I can agree how how you are raised and the culture surrounding you is a huge influence.
For sure. Yeah.
Huge influence.
Yeah. I've just always naturally, as much as they might make me mad or whatever, it's like there's this base understanding of like, I remember who I was at 14 and 15, you know, and my brother and I talked about that. Fraser tried teaching for a year, and he'll tell you this, like, he's like,
yeah, you told
he
me
was,
the story.
yeah, he's expecting too much. And I've told him, I was like, you got to remember, dude, do you remember how you were at 14 and 15
sure,
in an high school English class, you know, as a freshman? Like,
for sure.
So I get it naturally. Yeah. It'd be cool to get parents, no, it'd be cool to get teachers and just like adult leadership. It's tough, right? Because I mean, it's a job.
It's tough.
And then, you know, and then this gets into stuff that we talk about all the time. It's like, how do you keep that fire alive in a job?
Empathy. That's
yeah.
To me, that's always my approach with anyone who I work with is like empathy. Like, I need to understand how this person's feeling to be able to respond correctly. Like, there's clearly a reason they're acting that way. All right. Whether I think it's right or wrong really doesn't matter right now. Like, I just got to not make this worse.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's literally the philosophy I wanted to tell you about, that I kind of picked up, and it's freeing. And you can think all day long that it's passive or whatever. I don't think it is. Like, but there's always this drive for better, and everyone feels that better. And to me, bro, that was getting like complicated, man, and like tiring. So now it's like, I'm just not going to make things worse. And I'm going to be intentional with how I respond in like situations and like how I provide, and that also frees up solution finding, you know what I mean? I'm just not going to make things worse, bro.
Yeah.
When my daughter got in that car accident, literally I told myself, you're not going to make this better.
Don't make it worse.
You're not going to make this better. There's nothing good about this.
Yeah.
And I don't care how positive of a person you are, you're not going to make it better.
Yeah.
But you sure as hell cannot make it worse.
Yeah.
And that is what requires some conscious thought.
I like
that. Doesn't it feel like, like, all right, just show up in a way that you're not making things worse?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and
it does.
Just that alone, I think, allows for natural evolution to happen, or natural solution finding to happen, natural growth.
Yeah, and I think it's a good shift, because sometimes, okay, I think I've gone through all the MOPs with my kids. That's our warm up every day, and now we're on the commitment continuum. We just finished module 1, but that we got into that, and that one of our I keep coming back to it, is a recurring theme is, are you bringing problems to life or solutions? And are you going to be a solutions-based employee? Because what's cool about our curriculum is like part of our curriculum in CTE, and what I teach, is to make them hireable and professional. Teach them professional ethics and stuff like that. So I was like, no, there's nothing better than what, you know, MOPs and commitment continuum and all that stuff. So I just told them, I'm like, no one likes the employee that at every staff meeting always has something to complain about, always has a problem. Like, they're constantly, you know, like bringing only problems, right? No one likes that. And so we want to be solutions based, but I like your shift there, because it's like, what if we don't know the solution? What if I really don't know what to do in this situation? And that's a great fallback, where it's like, or it's a shift, it's not a fallback, it's a shift in focus. Like, well, just don't try to make it worse.
Yeah.
You know, maybe try to conserve what kind of order we can have in this situation. I like that.
It opens up communication too, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's not like, whose fault is this? It's, how do we not make this worse? And that will make it better.
Yeah.
I think not making it worse will literally ultimately make it better.
No doubt.
Because at that point, you're not like, you don't become like laser focused on one idea. It's like, no, dude, we got to stay open to what is happening around us to make sure that we get through this in a healthy way.
Yeah, well, how many issues are compounded in the heat of the moment when we're trying to maybe wrangle something and then make it worse?
Absolutely.
Know? So
emotions get involved, like it's reason and love, like hanging out together, you know. But dude, so we're talking about solutions. We're talking about not making things worse. I think I want to share real quick, and then I'll let you riff on it. But a 4-star General Rainey, came and spoke to the teachers at my school before pre-service, and he talked about some great things, what a leadership is. He also talked about the difference between describe and prescribe when you're a leader. But then he had like four. He also gave four different. I can't remember if he referred to them as leaders, but I think maybe he was talking about solution finding at this point.
Mm.
But anyways, hear me out. So he builds it like a pyramid, and it has its own little blocks or whatever. But at the bottom, there's those that create problems.
Mm.
There's those that create problems.
Yeah.
The second tier was there's those that identify problems.
Mm.
And then the third one was there's those that solve problems. And then at the pinnacle was there's those that prevent problems.
Nice.
And I thought that was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's the ones who are creating problems probably aren't finding solutions. It's just negative complaining. There's really, I view it like an endless circle. It's like a hamster on a wheel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Down there, you know? And then the ones who identify but still don't want to do anything about it, like, you know, that's not going to be very healthy for everyone around. The ones that solve it, still good, but they're kind of reactive, right?
Right.
But the ones who like prevent it, like they're doing things right now in the hopes that tomorrow will be better.
Yes. Yeah. And those are the best. I love that because that like you said, you hit a key term for me. It's that it's the difference between being reactive and proactive.
Mm-hmm.
And the proactive side takes way more diligence, prudence, forethought. Like you got to be looking at third level, fourth level type consequences
Yep.
of every action.
Yep.
And it's just a way more broader. It's just a broader view.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta expand out to try to even look at that. You know, I think one thing that's been revealing for me though is that as much as we would like when you look at the commitment continuum, which
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully we've talked about on the show. So it's that
not like a full like series on it or anything
doubt.
like that,
but it's so it's just a spectrum
mm-hmm.
from resistant to compelled, and it's split down the middle, 6 sections, in green and red. And as you know, like our idea is to get every athlete on that team, and for me, it's a classroom. I tell them all we're all team to shift the majority on that green side, because then it's been proven we'll win,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever that looks like for our goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yes, ideally it'd be really awesome to get everybody up there, but what I've had to come to grips with is that not everybody is meant to be compelled.
Mm.
And in fact, when you look at that curriculum and that literature, you're always usually only going to get maybe at most, like I've seen, he breaks down some teams that are winning. Some stats, it's like 10% at most
Mm-hmm.
of your team, if you really
Mm-hmm.
think about that. So again, on a 100-man team, that's maybe 10 guys, maybe. That's a minority. And then you think about what you just said, which is the top of that pyramid, that proactive people trying to prevent issues. For me, it's been revealing. It's like that's a higher order level of like, that's the exception of a majority, you know. And so I don't know. My point with that was to say, like, one, if that's something that's in your heart to want to be, that's great, and you got to put in the work to do that. And then two, I think maybe some self-reflection of maybe I'm not that, but then we need to take. I think those people should be supported. Like we should be able to find. We should want to be finding the people that do have that drive and that fire in them to be the proactive leaders that are that few minority, that are compelled, and we should support them and build a team around them, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
That's where I've been.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's like the center of gravity, bro.
Yeah.
If you think about it, where it all comes from. And I think going back to that idea of taking into it is, I'm not here to make everything better, and that creates that like ego posture on it, right?
Yeah.
But if you get that 10% to like compelled to go out there and not make things worse and just do what needs to get done, and wash the dishes when the dishes need to get washed, and just are these people committed to bettering the organization and others by bettering themselves and taking care of themselves, and like doing the things that they wished others did.
Yeah.
And another one too is like, if I'm hanging out with someone, man, and they're talking about they're getting frustrated by other people's behaviors and stuff like that, like if you wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of things, it becomes, what about that frustrates you, man? Like figure that out, do some self understanding and self-work on that. Like, what about that is frustrating me? Because I'm the one that's making the frustration.
Right.
That's just doing it. What
Yeah.
about that is doing that? It's like, you know, thinking about your thinking and feeling about your feelings, you know?
Yeah.
One step back.
Oh, I like that because that's, you know, a lot of times, and I got to remember this for myself, a lot of times it's projection. You
Yeah.
know, it's what's frustrating me about that person acting up or doing wrong is that I see that in me, you
Yeah.
know, and we have Young to thank for that. And I think too, I was going to say your point. Oh, I wanted to get your question on. So I was reading back when we were doing the breakdown, the brainstorming.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I put on there that I really want to discuss with you, because I'm getting this from Grover. I think he says this explicitly, and if not, I'm getting it from his book on winning.
Okay.
The guy who worked with Michael Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
you know. He says something along the lines of, or this is what I read into it, that committed, up to committed, which is like the second to best on the committed continuum.
Mm-hmm. Committed is an awesome place to be.
Awesome, right?
Compelled is like the pinnacle, but committed is, whoo, that's powerful, bro.
Committed is powerful.
Powerful.
But I think up until that, there's still some agency as far as choice. And he makes a point that to be compelled by something may not be a choice. And I've been working with this. I'm like,
it's a calling.
Yes. And so this gets back into my expectations. See, like back when we taught the commit continue to some of the teams we've worked with, like I think it was a mistake. I had in my head that everybody could be compelled. And now I'm kind of realizing, looking back at it now, no, you can get a majority into the committed, but to have that compulsion and part of being compelled is pulling others with you. It's like, I'm so committed to this goal, and I'm so committed to being proactive, to solving issues, and then I'm going to bring people along with me. That's only for a few people.
But you got to understand, like that minority has such a powerful influence
for
on
the
majority.
Yeah.
100%, dude.
Yep.
Like that's something that we all need to be okay with understanding. Is like, there are going to be those, and honestly, what I see a lot there, bro, is like, it seems like you've just become like more compassionate, understanding, and forgiving to the human experience itself. Like, dude, everybody is legit coming at this from a different angle.
Yep.
Like, and if you like see people like, all right, that person's just who they are because that's what they think is right, regardless of what I think, man.
Yeah.
Like, that gives you a very like safe place to respond.
Yeah.
Like, you're not everything that Grover talks about and everything we talk about. Like, I'm not defined by that.
Yeah.
Like, this is my subjective experience, is my choice.
Yes.
And then that makes the response at least not make it worse.
Yeah.
And we're not going to hit the mark.
No.
Not at all. But just to have that intention in the back in your head somewhere of like, I'm choosing my response right here because I want to experience this from a place of peace and power, man.
Yeah.
You know?
See, my thing, and I love what you just said about, I'm not going to say it the same way you did, but like this is almost a living for yourself or your own values, which I think is part and parcel to your philosophy and your therapy. And I love that. And I think that's so needed because I would argue that most people, again, and under the framework of the committed continuum, in that compliant range, which is just under committed, because they just kind of do what they're told, go with the flow. And you're going to get the majority of your team in there. They're not doing extra, but they're not resisting actively. I think the vast majority of people, the mass, fall into that. And I think a lot of that is our social makeup, where we're kind of pinging off of, okay, what's that person doing? What's that person? Okay, then I can fit in with the herd. And so that's been really big on me. Like, what if you lived for what you felt was right? Now, that being said, knowing that you've done all the legwork to figure out what should be valued and what is right for you.
No, even feel safe saying that, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't defend off of that. Like, it's okay for people to be who they are. I guarantee you that'll open up the door for you to sneak in some opportunities to help them grow and understand things better.
Yeah.
You let them feel safe, man, for being themselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you as a leader are on the back end, modeling and behaving and responding in a way that will generally influence a larger majority simply by like the initial foundation you set. You know?
Yeah.
Because in the school, 972 kids. I know kids are gonna mess up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that if enough, and that's that majority, enough or minority, if enough believe that that school is trying their best to give them a good experience, typically they're more willing to oblige by your request.
Mm.
But it's I'm telling you, this is like an art form we're talking about tonight. Like it's all subjective. This is all subjective. Everyone is going to approach this idea of like solution finding, and we're talking about building culture now and leadership and commitment and being compelled, and how that it's not even a choice, it's a calling to be this type of person. Man, I just think the number one way to really help evolution, let's call that, this whole like I'm not going to make things worse, like that's a focus on evolution. Like it's keeping it current, man. It's keeping it like keeping entropy at bay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Keeping it progressing too.
Keeping it progressing is requires like your own approach to it.
Yeah.
But when you talk about like what you said, like just meeting it with values and qualities and ways of behaving in the world that you believe to be true and helpful, and I think that's a really good approach, and other people will notice that.
Yeah.
And it'll help them, dude.
Yes. Yeah, I just want to cultivate that, because I'm taking everything we've talked about as a metaphor for life. Like I literally look at the commitment continuum, and I'm like, what if you are compelled to support the goals of life? And I think, like what you said a key point about how you'll get those kids to buy in when they know that you're wanting to take care of them and build the best experience for them.
For sure.
So then my question becomes, well, how do we get people to understand that, yes, life, the capital L, see, this is what I've been working on in my class. Life is hard. Life has hardships and suffering, but it does want what's best for you. It wants you to thrive in your own self-expression.
Because then it thrives.
Right. And so my part of like my personal project has been like, I keep coming back to that. It's like getting people to open up their eyes to, and to me, when you look back at ancient history and all the stories I love too, part of like the Norse mythology's obviously got this the best, but like there's this ancient, like just, I think just because maybe they didn't have any other choice, but it was like, hey, we're going to valiantly and courageously face the hardship and suffering of life head on. And there's this really good quote from a Tolkien story. I love this story because it's a romance. It's this Baron is a man who wants to win the heart of this elf lady who's like, they're almost like angels.
Okay.
And her dad's like, all right, fine. You want my daughter in marriage? Go steal the jewel off the crown of literally the devil. The devil in Tolkien's mythology is like a fallen god. And he's got a crown and he's got 3 jewels. Okay. Possible task, right? You're going to die. You're a man. You're just a man. But he does it. And anyway, in that whole journey, there's this giant dog, like literally a huge dog that can speak. He's awesome. He's like a giant hound. Yeah. Love dogs, bro. It's like your dog. It's like Willow. Like imagine Willow just a little bit bigger. Dope. And being able to speak.
That's cool. Yes. I would like to know what she says.
Yes.
100%.
So this heroic dog helps them out, and the woman helps her out too. It's really cool because she's an elven lady and she can like see and has powers. And anyway, the dog tells the man straight up, he's like, dude, you are facing certain doom. But if you courageously face that doom with the hope of the uncertainty of that doom, then you might succeed. And it was like, so it comes from a dog, dude, a talking dog. But I'm like, that's life right there. Like, yes, I told the kids the other day, I was like, we're all going to die at some point. You know, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but, and we did our deathbed activity and I said, how are you going to face that? How are you going to respond? You know, and I tell them too, we're only promised suffering and hardship. How are you going to respond? And I keep thinking of that quote. It's like, if you face the uncertainty of your doom with hope, then you're going to be a hero.
This brought me back to what we talked about even before we recorded today. When you find meaning in the effort to overcome and not the wins and losses that come, you tend to meet life's demands in a way that doesn't make things worse.
Yeah, it's good.
Focus on the effort of it.
Yeah.
And then The wins and losses they're there, but hey man, what did you learn? What do you now understand better? And most importantly, what can you share, man?
Yeah.
That'll freaking help people not do that same thing. If you really think about it, that's what business is.
Yeah.
You're identifying a problem set, and then you're marketing your solution and selling your solution to that problem.
Yeah, and you're testing it, right? Like I talk to X all the time.
What do you think the whole marketing industry is?
Yeah, exactly.
Feeding on our wants and needs.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, but like also it's like a battleground of ideas too. Like you're saying, like don't worry about the wins and losses. It's I'm testing my effort to find the best avenue.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that, and I think what you just said to wrap it up is like literally, it's the experience of becoming. What are you becoming in this experience? It's not about the wins and losses. And
in Rick Rubin's book,
is that
like you talked about it. He literally said one of the most creative acts is the creation of self.
Yeah, yeah. I love that.
Love that.
Because we should be.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I know life's going to be hard, man. I know there's challenges. You know, I had a recent death. Was at a funeral yesterday for a student whose mother passed away in a car accident. And I literally was driving with Colleen to celebrate our 15th anniversary. And I finally started talking about my grandma a little bit. And I said, she lived long, man, 97. She was old already. You know, it's interesting. She was at the end. She wasn't telling like family, but apparently she would be praying at night, telling God that she's ready. So at one point we're gonna be there.
Yep.
We're gonna be telling God, I've done all I can. I think it's time.
Yeah.
To remember the real stuff.
Yeah.
And then I told Colleen, I said, I'm going all the fuck way out, man. Like I am all in, dude. Like I am going to do everything that I possibly can because I know one day just that.
Yeah.
I think maybe I've accepted that, like with a capital T now.
Yeah.
Like I've got to just do as much as I can. Like help as much as I can, serve as much as I can, grow as much as I can. Go get that house in Costa Rica, man. Figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Like why not?
Yeah.
Because one day we're gonna be telling God that we're ready to go.
Yeah. I know I am. That's gonna be me.
And I think that's coming from a place of like everything we talked about tonight. We're not being defined by what's happening in our life. We're being defined by how we respond to what's happening in our life.
Yes.
And we're intentional with that.
Yes.
We're aware.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know me, I'm awareness, evolution, creation. I think he was grabbing the jewel of awareness.
Yeah.
If I had to like, just that little part of the story he told me, I'm like, oh, he needs to make people aware again. There really is so much more to them than they're believing down there.
Damn.
Send it.
That's good.
That's
good, dude. Because he does. Literally, it's funny you said that. He does. Literally, that story, like,
man,
inspires the rest of the people to, like, stand up against evil.
Send it.
So.
There you go. Which is evolution, which then leads to a different creation.
Yep. No doubt. No, that's good. And I was going to say, I think that ties into all this.
He wasn't making things better by going and get that jewel. He was just trying to not make them worse.
Yeah, yeah.
Which gave him the freaking courage and fortitude and perseverance.
Yeah. I was going to say, I keep seeing this meme going around the internet, and it's like usually a militant guy with a gun or looking very intimidating. The meme says, every defeat is just psychological until death. I don't know if you've seen that.
That's beautiful, though.
But I'm like, that's it.
Send it. Close it out on that.
Yeah.
Hey, we talked about, we went into leadership a little bit, culture building, some real practical stuff. I got good value out of it.
Yeah.
It's sharing your beliefs about how you're serving in your profession. I really enjoyed that. I feel like that was a lot of our professional side coming out.
Yeah.
That was fun. We talked about the commitment continuum. That's great stuff. How not everyone's going to be compelled, and that's okay. They are where they are. They are in their phase of evolution. Then, shoot, man, we started talking about solution finding, right? And then the 4 levels of problem solvers, I guess.
Yeah.
You can call it that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked about that. That was fun. And then we just kind of closed it out with, I don't know. You say how we just closed it out. What'd you get from that last 5 minutes? That was a good part of it.
No, it was good. I think just trying to talk about the distinct difference between being compelled and committed and in regards to life. and our response to that, in response to the hardship of life. And I think that quote I said at the end wraps it up. Every defeat is psychological until death.
I love it. And don't forget to enjoy it along the way, though.
Yeah. The
Like,
experience of becoming.
Yes. Don't
yes.
forget. Come on, y'all. We went a little bit over, but that's fine. We're doing a 2-part series again, so we'll talk about it again. But maybe that's what we talk about in the next show. Like, we're hard charging. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's build great things in this world. Let's evolve humanity. But how do we enjoy that?
Yes.
Maybe let's talk about that as we go
I'm
into
down.
the next part.
I'm down.
All right.
Sure.
Hey, thanks, y'all. What was that, 70?
I don't know. Was it? Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's
70. Cool.
70.
Hey, we're still getting by. You see the equipment that we're using, but we're still going. Love y'all very much. Part 2 coming up. I think we're going to talk about how to enjoy the journey.
There we go.
All right. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right. See you.